Welcome to the Real Talk, the podcast where we get honest about what's really going on in your body and how to take control of your health. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sproul, integrative health practitioner and professor, and today we're doing something a little different. We're walking through a real food sensitivity test, and the results belong to none other than our co-host, Gerardo, or better known as Little Yeti. So we want to talk about hidden gut imbalances to surprising food triggers. This episode's all about understanding how your immune system reacts to what you eat and what you need to do about it. So let's break it down.
Hello, everyone. And yeah, this should be interesting or terrifying. I haven't fully looked at the results, so I'm learning right along with y'all.
You nervous?
Just a tad.
Yeah. So quick medical disclaimer, this podcast for information educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. Okay, so let's start the initial review. All right, Geraldo, thank you for being here. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Good, good. How's this weather treating you?
It's good. It's letting me do more work in the garage, planters, etc.
Yeah, so a lot of cleaning to do.
Oh yeah. Every time I start a project, I need to like reorganize all my tools.
Yeah, like sometimes I want like a pool barn of
Oh, that'd
just
be nice.
yeah. So it's nice, clean, have a lot of room. So when you come up with ideas and stuff. So, all right, well, let's get into it. We're starting off with the yeast panel, right? Specifically the IgG. That's George, IgG yeast allergy test. This test looks at your immune system response in two major types of yeast, Candida albicans and Saccharomyces cerevisiae. You want to say that one fast? No, which is common in things like bread, beer, and nutritional yeast.
Right. And from what I understand, Candida is kind of infamous in the gut world, right? Like everyone's worried about Candida overgrowth these days.
Yeah, and that they're smart to worry about it, especially with so many people on antibiotics. But yeah, exactly. So Candida is a normal part of the microbiome. We all have it in small amounts, but when it overgrows, often because of antibiotics, high sugar diet, chronic stress, and even alcohol, can create lots of chaos in the gut and beyond. And it's like, I think all of those are everybody we know, right? Antibiotics, high sugar diet, chronic stress, even alcohol.
Speaking about a high sugar diet, we went out on Tuesday to JoJo's bar in Naperville, and the amount of sugar that we consumed that night gave both my wife and I a headache the following day.
Yeah, who do you have to thank for that?
Burn. I am beyond grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so just in general on your test showed 7.11 for Candida albicans, and that puts you in the moderate to high reactivity range.
Hmm. So, what does that mean exactly? Am I infected? Do I have Candida in my bloodstream?
Do you want Candida in your bloodstream?
Absolutely not.
That's all good questions, and no. You're not infected in a dangerous way. This test looks at your IgG antibodies, which means your immune system has encountered Candida frequently or recently. So it's like your immune saying, hey, I've seen this before. I got to get a response ready for it. So in your case, it strongly suggests Candida may be overgrowing in your gut and irritating your immune system.
Could that explain why some of the stuff that I've been feeling lately, like that brain fog I was talking about, or how I crash hard in the afternoons?
Yeah, absolutely. So common symptoms of Candida overgrowth include brain fog, like you just said, bloating and gas. This is a very typical one. A lot of people experience bloating and gas and, think it's like low stomach acid, high stomach acid, think it's all these things when it's Candida. So brain fog, bloating and gas, sugar cravings, mood swings, fatigue, skin issues like rashes or acne, frequent sinus infections or allergies, migraines, headaches. So when Candida overgrows, it can compromise the gut lining. It contributes to leaky gut. People hear that a lot, leaky gut. And it can even affect the nutrient absorption. And that was one of my issues with, why am I not absorbing certain nutrients, right? Well, why am I not absorbing protein? Same with, a lot of vitamins and minerals. And it came back to issue with Candida.
Candida overgrowth. So what do I do about it? Am I gonna am I going to be living on bone broth and garlic for the next 6 months?
The answer is no. Not unless you want to. Do you want to?
I mean, I feel like that would be the most quickest and effective way to lower the Candida levels down. But let's be honest, I'm a foodie. I I probably do that for a day and a half a day. I
Eh,
was gonna say a day and a half, but I'm gonna be honest with myself. I would probably be able to do that for half a day.
Yeah, it'd be easier if you're single, right? Like when you have family, wife and kids.
Oh yeah.
It's hard when people are eating a good meal in front of you and you're like, "I can't have it."
And that's the whole thing at the moment at our house, it's like my wife is trying to figure out meals that's good for all of us, not just me, not just for her, but for everybody that we're all gonna enjoy. We're not making I'm sorry, she's not making 3 to 4 different dishes per kid. It's just we're making one large amount, and if it's leftover for the next day, I know it's gonna be good leftovers that we're gonna enjoy.
Yeah. Well, the good news is there are natural ways to bring it back into balance, right? We want to clean up your diet, cut back on refined sugars and yeast heavy foods, right? Maybe bring in some antifungal herbs like oregano oil and caprylic acid. You're already doing oregano, right?
Yeah, I do oregano, and I got a feeling that if we would have done this test early on before I started coming around oregano oil, it would have been higher. But me personally, I feel like it's lowering it down because I feel like my gut health is getting better. It's not the best. It's not at 100% right now, but I feel like that has helped me a lot.
Yeah, and definitely probiotics. I know you're taking those for a while, especially strains like Saccharomyces boulardii, which compete with Candida.
So is it more of like a reset than a punishment?
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds. It's kind of a punishment too, but it's what we have to do to heal our body, right? So remember your overall yeast marker, the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, come back low, right? That means your body isn't freaking out about yeast in general. It's mostly Candida we need to address. So Candida, so for those that don't know, Candida is a specific yeast species linked to gut overgrowth. Yeast refers broadly to various non-Candida fungal organisms tested.
I'm actually kind of relieved. It gives me a reason to make some of those changes that I've been putting off.
Yeah, because especially now that you know what one of the issues are, such as the Candida, it's time to address it. And as you saw, like from my results from years and years ago, I showed you mine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think I was at like, you're at 7, I think I was at like 15 or 18 or something like that. And it was because when I was initially years and years ago, I was getting all those migraines. Every time I went to the doctor, I would have symptoms of like, oh man, my sinuses are closed, a lot of sinus pressure, pressure in between my eyes. Every time I would go, every 3 months, I would get it. And that's when my migraines first started. Every time I would go, oh, here's antibiotic. So every 3 months, they said, oh no, it's not migraine, it's sinus infection.
That's insane.
Yeah, it wasn't though.
A-
So it's yeah.
and then for me, antibiotics after the second or third day, I get really I get stomach pain.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, because you're killing a lot of bacteria there. So that's the power of data, right? It helps connect the dots between your symptoms and what's going on inside. And again, this is the first piece, but let's keep going. So, all right. So now we're diving into the dairy section of your IgG food map. This one raised a few red flags. 3 of the dairy markers showed up as moderate range: cow's milk, which you kind of expected, whey, and yogurt.
Wait, hold on. Yogurt? That's supposed to be that's supposed to be good for you. Probiotics, gut health, all that.
You're totally right. It could be great for gut health, yogurt in general, but for some people, it's not. Others, especially those with existing gut inflammation and compromised digestion, it can be a trigger. And you're seeing that with you, especially if your body's reacting to milk proteins like casein or whey, or even to the bacteria strains if the gut barrier is damaged. And you know that well.
So then this means that I am confirming that I am lactose intolerant.
So, not exactly. This test doesn't look at lactose, which is the sugar in milk. It looks at your immune response to the proteins in milk. So, lactose intolerance is a digestive enzyme issue. And that's why a lot of times you do take those digestive enzymes,
Yes.
right? So, IgG reactivity is immune based and often delayed. So, it's a little different than lactose intolerant. This might take hours or even the next day for symptoms to show up. But we know based on your reaction to milk in general, it's easy to see that you are lactose intolerant.
Okay. So what are we talking here? Is it bloating, gassy aftermath?
Yeah, but it could also be the other symptoms too are, a lot of people post nasal drip, fatigue, joint pain, eczema, acne, mood changes, sinus pressure, brain fog, even histamine type reactions like headaches and migraines.
Wow.
So yeah, because your immune system's producing IgG antibodies to the dairy proteins, eating them regularly can contribute to low level inflammation throughout the body.
And I eat a lot of cheese. I'm not gonna lie.
Ah, cheese is good.
It is. It is.
Yeah, I'm kind of still limited on certain cheeses I have and stuff too, and sometimes cheeses are annoying because I want it, but then I don't like the aftermath.
And not to mention, whenever you go to parties and they have like a cheese platter, i- if there's like a cheese platter and it's like, I never go for it. I'll just eat the crackers, and it's like just because I know I'm not sure what specific cheese cube may or may not upset my stomach.
Yeah, I remember you said cheese and eggs are your go-to, but here's what's interesting: cheddar cheese and mozzarella came back as not significant, so not all dairy is the problem.
Huh. So why would milk and whey hit harder than cheese?
Great question. When it comes down to processing and protein structure, aged cheeses often have lower levels of whey and casein, and then fermentation process alters the proteins, making them less reactive for some people. Meanwhile, cow's milk and whey, which is liquid by product of cheese making, are more bioavailable and can provoke stronger immune responses if your gut is can't talk today. If your gut's sensitive.
So if I had a latte with regular milk, that might be more of an issue than pizza?
Yep, and I know you love your pizza. So, yeah, yogurt, even though it's fermented, still contains both casein and whey, fairly intact forms. That's why it showed up too.
I also noticed goat milk and sheep's yogurt were not significant on the list.
Yeah, that's because those proteins, whilst they're still dairy, they're slightly different from cow's milk proteins. Many people who usually react to cow's milk can tolerate goat or sheep and dairy in moderation, right? Not a lot. So it's good to swap out if you're easy into dairy free without going full vegan.
So where does that leave me? What's the move?
Recommendation would be remove cow's milk, yogurt, and whey for at least 6 weeks. See how you feel: energy, digestion, skin issues, sinuses. During that time, you could try goat cheese or unsweetened almond milk if you want non dairy alternatives. And here's a tip: check protein powders. A lot of them use whey isolate, which you want to avoid for now. And that's a lot. That's why a lot of people say, oh man, I think now too, think it's affecting so many people. That's why so many manufacturers switch into pea protein.
Yeah.
And pea protein for a lot of people too. Pea protein, the different shakes I told you to try that time, right? Pea protein could affect you too. Like sometimes if protein is just too in high amounts, it could cause stomach pain and like gassiness and stuff. And it's just too strong, right? Slowly do it. So if you do pea protein, you don't have to do 32 grams instantly. Maybe start off at 5 grams and get your body used to it.
Well, it would be wise for me to look for a good protein powder for me. But, I didn't think of that. Most people's morning shakes are probably whey and yogurt blended together. Now I know to stay away from that.
Yeah, and that's why I said too. It's like even the body health, the powder version of the not just electrolytes with the BCAAs, but the protein blend,
Okay.
right? The one you guys were taking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to order that yet? I think it comes in stock at the end of the month.
It comes up this week. It comes up this week. I know that because I know Claudia is really like that's the one that she got hooked on. So and
Yeah.
not only it tastes good, but it's also a drink that she's consuming.
Yeah, and it's like a water, kind of like a juice. It's by Body Health. You get them off the utilize our code, with 20% off and stuff, and order Body Health products and stuff too. Just go to the website mindfulobjective.com. You go to supplements, and there's a link. You click on it. You sign up to the store, and you don't have to be a client. You could order as you please and save 20%. But on there, one of the things are Body Health products, and that's the brand, famous, known for by Gary Brecka. And
My boy right there. That's
yeah,
my friend.
yeah, smart guy. And on that, it's that Body Health one. Forgot what it's called, but it's protein with BCAAs, the amino acids in there, and it's a different version of protein. So it helps building blocks of protein in your body. So it's different than like a whey protein shake or something like that. and you don't have those same symptoms. So you could still get 20, 30 grams of protein from that or those pills too, and you won't have any bloating or anything. So alternative.
I've been taking the pills and I like them.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I don't notice a difference, but I know they're in my system and I know they're doing me better than harm.
Yeah. So I think 5 pills, the tablets equal 28 grams of whey protein. So like you can't have whey, and a lot of people can have whey. So if you do have a shake out there and you're like, oh, every time I have a protein shake, I feel bloated and gassy, you're having a reaction to it. Right. So that's what we're talking about here today. So yeah, go ahead.
So would you recommend taking all 5 pills at once or just as long as I get them in the day?
Well, for your high amount of calories you need like 5 pills, like like 3 times a day.
Okay.
I mean, the benefit is the price isn't too bad on those body health ones, and I think the tablets you get like 300 or 600 tablets in those
That's
containers.
not bad.
No, or you just do the protein powder that she's doing.
The drink?
Yeah, it's just sometimes the drinks to me, I get too full on too much liquid, so sometimes the tablet form are nice.
That's the way
get
to
more
go.
protein. So yeah, so the combo in general, right, of that whey and yogurt mix kind of thing. A lot of people do that in the morning in smoothies, right? Because it makes them thicker and stuff like that too. If you did that combo, it would definitely stir up your immune system. So a few small swaps can make a huge difference. And the good news, none of it's forever, right? We'll reintroduce these things in a structured way after that elimination period. So again, how do you we'll talk about reintroduction, but same thing. It's eliminate it for a while. And I know you don't really do a lot of whey and stuff like that too. And it might be you're one of those people that can have whey,
Dang. All right. I'm down to experiment. Just don't take away my pizza Fridays.
How long have you been doing that?
Poof, I've been doing that. Man, it's been a while, but it's just one thing that me and the family look forward to. We'll get pizza and then we'll just watch a movie together as a family.
Do you guys ever go to Mod?
I don't think I'm not sure. That's the one downtown Naperville, right?
Well, there's one right over by the movie I'm 59 too.
No, I'm thinking about
There's one downtown.
Pie 5, I think.
No, so Mod, right? You make your own pizzas.
Huh.
So individual pizza, about this big, maybe 12 inches.
Okay.
And they have kid-size ones too. They're like this big.
And personal ones.
Yeah, they're all personal.
Cool.
And so you put your own ingredients. They have it kind of like you're going to
Subway?
Yeah, you pick your ingredients, what you want on it
That's
and
cool.
stuff, and you tell them. But they have vegan cheese, like I was telling you too. Is we kind of talked off there about this, but kind of if you can't have mozzarella, like say you do mozzarella cheese and you do it once every other week, right? It would bring down your reaction. But say you ate pizza every Friday, went mods every Friday, then you would just say, okay, today I want like the vegan cheese.
Okay.
And that tastes pretty good, the vegan cheese. I like it. Andrea don't, but I like the vegan cheese. It's good. Mozzarella, they have different kinds too. I think they have other cheeses there too. And it's all different pizzas. You could pick a default pizza off their list, right? They might have like 12 pizzas on the wall. Do you want this? Or you just create your own. I always create my own. And I'll just put, some days I'll do tons of meat on there, a little bit of cheese, little bit of sauce. Sometimes I do barbecue chicken pizza.
There you go.
Don't
That
do it
sounds
all the
good.
time, but got to enjoy life too. So if anybody out there is just hardcore, hey, you have to be 100% perfect, that's not this podcast. This is reality. So if you want pizza, you know what? Enjoy pizza. Just don't have it all the time. And don't eat, those pizzas, I still only eat like a half of the pizza. I don't eat a full one myself. So sometimes we'll split, but
Yeah.
yeah. So,
It is hard. It is hard though to, try to eat correctly, stay on a perfect path. I know at work I get a lot of crap when my friends will see me drinking like say like a Coke Zero. They're like, "Hey Gerardo, I thought you were like Mr. Healthy." And I was like, "No. I'm healthy-ish."
Yeah.
Like I'm working my way, like I'm not eating the same crap I was eating maybe 3 years ago. I'm
it's a
way
journey.
better and I feel way better,
Yeah, it's a journey. People got to understand it's a journey. And that's why so many people give up, because you get so many people that have to like judge you, right? Oh, I thought you're Mr. Perfect, stuff like this too. And just because I think the other stereotype out there too is people look at people's body type and assume they eat bad, right? I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to nutrition, all this stuff, and I always had an issue with weight, based on thyroid, based on again candida. I mean, there's so many things, testosterone levels, all that. So many things affect weight, your looks, all that stuff too. So even if you're doing 100%, you're a nutritionist, right? You're eating 100% healthy, right? But is that enough for your body? And that's why a lot of people, you'll look at somebody and they're overweight and you know what? They eat the best diet in the world, but is it an issue with their thyroid? Is it an issue with their testosterone? Like it could be so many other things. So it's not always that. And two, those people that live super strict, like we talked before, bodybuilders, right? We know they stay strictly on diet and stuff like that too. But again, what does that kind of eating do to the body too long term? Because we see a lot of bodybuilders die from heart attacks and
That's when their body
blockages.
that's when their body goes to fight or flight mode for a long time.
Yeah. And they don't pay attention because a lot of them do not do testing, right? They
Gosh.
just go based on looks. So that's where we try to change that movement. But we want to let people know it's not about perfection out there. So yeah, again, I'm prime example, right? I a lot of times will struggle. I could lose weight at times, but I could look at food and gain 10 pounds in a week. So that's without eating it. So it's for me, I struggle still. A lot of people else do too, but I'm not going to live 100%, try to live that perfect lifestyle and hate life. I'm going to enjoy food when I do want to eat.
Exactly.
I'm gonna enjoy going out and, I just gonna when I order something, I'm gonna order on the more healthy side, but I'm gonna enjoy life, and for the people out there, enjoy life. I mean, just get on a good journey, right? Replace different things like we always talk about, get on that right path. Nothing's overnight. It takes time for your body to heal. It takes time for your body to, switch to new diets, and that's why they say, if you change your diet, change it for that 21 days or so, because then it becomes habit, and I always notice too, if you start working out more, you automatically start eating better. It's I think because you think, "Man, it kinda is not fun to be on a treadmill or doing all these weights," and, you just like, I gotta," diet goes along with this, so I gotta eat better.
I wanna say I wanna s I think Claudia had posted something that said, do I wanna be uncomfortable for 45 minutes or be uncomfortable for the rest of my life?" And I liked that. I was like, "That makes sense because it's like a workout's 45 minutes, and if you're consistent with that, it'll make you look better and feel better in the long term, versus something happens in a couple years and now you're sick and now because you could have prevented it."
Yeah, people don't look at that, they look at when it happens, like we said, when's your health important to you? And, yeah, have a heart attack, they're in the bed, they're in a wheelchair, now they care. It's like, well, you coulda worked out once a week. I mean, you gotta stay moving. I mean, you move too much, but other people gotta, get up. Guilty of that, right? You wanna get enough walking at least 3 times a week out there, 10,000 steps, as they say. But, sometimes I know it's hard for certain people that do have health conditions or bad knees, stuff like that too. But whatever you could do to move around, right? There's chair yoga, there's all these other things you can do. But a big one is nutrition, right? So just you don't have to be perfect overnight, but slowly, if you're used to drinking 5 beers a week, somebody, maybe get that down to 2 beers a week, get it down to 1 beer a week to no beers, right? Then, or alcohol in general. And then same for those people that eat fast food, 3 times a day, 5 times a week, because their work schedule's so busy. Well, you know what? Reduce that. Now you're eating it only 3 times a week. I mean, you'll notice a huge difference in your body just by eliminating it 2 days a week, getting rid of it. So it's the long process. So just take your time, slowly change things out. Don't have to be dramatic because when it's dramatic, everybody quits. So don't be dramatic. So, all right, now let's talk about something a lot of people misinterpret when they get these results, the low reactivity category, right? That's the usually we see it in green. This is part of the test that trips everybody up, even for health savvy folks.
Yeah, I was looking at that list and there was a bunch of food under low, like almond, green tea, rye, even peanuts. I was like, am I supposed to stop eating all that too?
So, not necessarily. So, looking at these papers here, Low result means that your immune system has made some IgG antibodies to that food. So there is a mild immune response, right? But it's not clinically significant as the moderate or high reactions. So, based on looking at this, think of it like this: none to lower, the better, right? So, not significant. This means there's no immune concern. It's usually blank or super low on the chart. So, you'll see. I wish we had kind of a video presentation of this, and we'll make one in the future and do a new podcast on that, or a video podcast to where we're kind of explaining and letting you see the results. But so you have different levels: non significant, low, moderate, and high. So again, non significant is there's no real immune concern. And you'll see if you get this test done, it's usually blank or it'll be super low on that chart. Then you have low, which is your immune system is watching the food but not mounting a strong reaction. Then you have moderate. This is your immune system is actively responding. So it's, the low, it's, hey, there's a reaction here if you do eat this. If it's moderate, is like, hey, I'm responding to this. There's the fire department analogy. There's a possible fire in the house, but there's nothing there. Well, smoke detectors aren't kicking off yet, so it's low. Moderate, your immune system's actively responding, so there's smoke, right? So that fire department's responding to that call. So high, strong immune reaction, but that didn't come up on your test, luckily. But a high reaction would be, mutual aid. Whole bunch of departments showing up for that high alert.
Wow. So low is kind of like being on the watch list.
Yeah, exactly. So like the TSA pre-check for food reactions. So you're not detained, but you're being scanned, right? The body might be slightly irritated, or it's reactively could increase if that food is eaten daily without variation. So let's look at your results. Almond showed up as low. Peanuts showed up as low. Rye showed up as low. Green tea showed up as low. Napa cabbage and yucca showed up as low. You should be eating more yucca though. Yucca's good.
My father-in-law makes a lot of yucca.
Yeah, we usually do just in the air fryer. So nice and easy, clean. So in general, just these foods you want to keep an eye on. So if you're eating almond butter every day, or if it's your go-to snack is peanut butter on rye toast with a cup of green tea, that adds up. And the reason to restrict these for a bit.
You just described my entire Sunday afternoon snack routine.
There you go. The repetition is key factor here. So one almond snack isn't going to hurt, but chronic exposure to mildly irritating food can cause a cumulative inflammation, right? Especially in the gut barrier if it's already compromised like it is with you with Candida overgrowth. And again, it seems like everything we talk about, and again, the whole reason I got involved in integrative health was because all the issues I had with Candida, with migraines, with all that stuff, weight issues that led me down this journey. And as you see here, Candida plays a big part in a lot of things you feel.
Well, the one thing I would continue saying, I feel like as my journey continues, we've said it before, this is a slow journey, not an overnight, you know, change. But I known, or I want to say it's that I've noticed a difference in my gut health. So it's I know I'm doing something good for it. I know I'm not just piling trash over it and over and over. It's just my habits are changing. The quality of food is different, so
Yeah, and everybody, like you're saying, everybody likes it to be a race. How many people, January 1st comes around, they instantly run to the gym and they go extreme for like a month or two, then they quit.
and they're still paying for the membership.
Yeah, they got the whole year they signed up. They're so, hardcore for this gym, and they did it and they quit. And same thing happens with this. It's like it's not a race. So, okay, I'm going to make changes in my diet and I hope to improve, and let's see how things go over a few weeks. Oop, I don't like eating that. Let's switch to this. Let's see if I have a reaction. Yeah, slow process. Just enjoy life, but try to live healthier.
So we just get back to our the the low risk. Would you recommend me cutting out all the low reactive foods too?
So it depends. For some people, especially those with autoimmune systems, chronic fatigue, persistent skin issues, I would suggest removing both moderate and low reactivity foods for a more comprehensive reset. So, right in your case, since you only had a handful of moderate results and you're not fully blown autoimmune flare, I'd say focus on the moderates first. But do try to rotate the low reactive foods, maybe every few days instead of daily.
Makes sense. It's funny though. I used to think green tea was like a healthiest, the healthiest thing ever.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people. I have a reaction to green tea too, and I was shocked at that because same. You hear everybody, oh, you got to drink green tea, green tea, green tea. Um, Green tea, since it shows up, you'd have to definitely would be better for you as black tea.
Hmm.
You know,
I'll definitely look into that.
so again, it's for most people. But if someone with leaky gut or stress immune system, even superfoods can become problematic. Right, those things that we think are the healthiest of healthy could still cause a body to have a reaction. Again, it's not always about good or bad. It's about your body's current tolerance level. Here's the kicker. Low reactions might shift once the gut heals, right? I've seen plenty of people retest 6 months later, and what was a low or moderate reactivity goes completely back to normal.
So this isn't a life sentence.
Well, not unless you don't take care of yourself. So, again, not at all. It's a snapshot of what your immune system's doing right now, like at this time when we took the test. And it gives us a roadmap, right? We remove triggers, support gut healing, bring down inflammation. In most cases, people can reintroduce those foods without symptoms later. And the big thing is like it's a slow process, right? Reduce them for a set amount of time, which we'll talk about. And 6 weeks from now, 8 weeks, try a piece of food that was on your list, like green tea, and see if you have a reaction.
All right. So I'll cool it on the almond milk in my coffee and peanut snacks for now.
Yeah, I was surprised too that well, I guess right. You hear a lot about peanut allergies and stuff too, but for me, peanuts do not show up on my food sensitivity test. But if I eat peanuts, it's an instant migraine, like within hours. So I'm having a reaction, but it does not show up.
Is it a regular is it like the candy coated peanuts? Like the what is it, the honey
No,
sugar, I think, or just like the regular basic?
regular, I could
Huh.
get raw peanuts, and I love peanuts. I love peanut butter. And the other issue is I can't have chocolate. I mean, that's a well known trigger for people with migraines is chocolate. But it's like every protein bar for the most part
It's covered in
contains
chocolate.
chocolate.
Yeah.
Every protein bar, I can't have almonds. Every protein bar has almonds or almond butter or almond powder, or it has peanuts in it. And it's like, well,
Well,
I
if
don't have
anybody
them.
gives you chocolate, you can give it to me.
Yeah.
I'll eat it for you.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not about being intentional, right? It's about being intentional, not fearful. So you're learning how you listen to your immune system, which is something most people never do until it's screaming at them, right? We see that a lot. It's like, well, you're in severe pain now. You're reaching out, but you're not being proactive. So that's why I tell people. I was very shocked when I did my first test. It was probably like 8 years ago, my food sensitivity test. I was very shocked to see that, and that kind of taught me a lot. Like I would have never expected a lot of these things are causing inflammation and migraines, but they were.
I never thought my fatigue or skin flare ups could be connected to what I ate a few days before.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people don't understand like a food sensitivity versus allergy. They think, oh, I don't have a reaction to it because I ate it and I didn't have a skin flare up right now. Well, could take 4 or 5 days. Usually it's 36 hours, but for some people it's 5 days later. So at least now you do understand, right? And speaking long-term change, wait until we dig into rotation diet that Mosaic provided. The labs are through Mosaic. That's kind of we run our food sensitivity tabs. So they kind of provide different kind of weeks of different ways to rotate your diet. So that's where you'll really start taking control. So okay, Geraldo, this part might actually be one of the most powerful tools for your test. Right, the 4-day rotation. So it's a personalized meal map, right? That you didn't know you needed, but you do.
Yeah, I saw that in the report. It looked kind of complicated at first, different foods on different days. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, totally fair. But once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature. The purpose of the rotation diet is to reduce repeated exposures to the same foods, especially ones your body might be starting to react to. So even if that reaction is subtle or hasn't hit system level yet, where you're getting actually a symptom, that's the reason for this. So when you eat the same foods every day, even if they're quote healthy, your immune system becomes hypersensitive. It's like the background noise becoming loud static, right? You start initially, you hear a low static or that low ringing in your ears like we have.
Yeah.
Then suddenly it gets louder and louder and louder and based on symptoms, right? A lot of people don't know it. Oh, I'm eating peanuts once a month. You don't really have a major reaction. You eat it, once a week. Maybe you're starting to have a reaction. Maybe you eat it once every other day. Now you're like, man, I'm having a migraine nonstop, or man, my knees are killing me. What is this? Who would ever expect it to be a couple peanuts you have 3 times a week?
Yeah, that's but it's kind of like giving my body a break from the routine.
Yeah, and it's what your body needs. So the rotation diet splits foods into 4 different family or groups. You rotate what you eat, and you're not hitting the same protein, grain, dairy, fruit, and vegetable families every day. Your test report already did the heavy lifting. It mapped out the customized meal plan for day 1 through day 4 based on your IgG results.
So the stuff I reacted to, like cow's milk, yogurt, and whey, isn't in there, right?
Correct. Any foods you have, it was the moderate reactivity to you. Those were completely removed from the rotation plan. So you want to keep those off the table for now. What's left are the foods that your immune system either didn't respond to or only had a low response to. And there was and to like we're touching this food sensitivity test at a high, level, specific on certain aspects of it. But like Geraldo's report is 14 pages long with a lot of detail on based on Candida, based on foods, on what he can have, what he can't have, the reactions to the different foods. So there's a lot goes into this, but it's only so much you can fit on a podcast. And like I said, it'd definitely be easier if we were doing like a slideshow to where you could actually see the IgG food map and understand kind of what we're talking about. But for a lot of those people that run these tests, or this is giving you the just basic summary of what we're looking for and how to make changes. So
That makes sense. I noticed things like goat's milk and mozzarella cheese are still in there, so I don't have to go 100% dairy free.
right, again, the goal isn't restriction; it's balance and variety. So, for instance, on day 1, you might have goat's milk with your breakfast, but then you don't have any kind of dairy again until day 4. So again, you're not having it every day. Just like you, how are you doing your diet now? Like, let, give us, 3 days of what you would eat for breakfast, just the breakfast part.
I'll have an avocado toast. I'll do some water, some juice.
Is it day 1?
Yeah,
Okay. Day 2?
I would morning. I'll probably have a toast. It could either be just a chocolate peanut spread with jelly on it, and then I'll have fruit with it along with it.
Remember to get that 30 grams of protein as soon as you wake up.
You are right.
It's hard. It's
It,
hard,
it
but
is
that's why you
it is
gotta,
it is hard.
yeah, take those the protein, the tablets, and just force yourself to get into habit. Even if you do 2 a day, I mean 2 in the morning, like right before you eat, have your electrolytes, take 2 of those protein tablets, and then eat your toast and stuff and see how it goes. But like you're eating eggs for a while. So were you ever doing those each day?
Which ones?
The eggs. Like were you
Well,
ever eating eggs like day 1, day 2, day 3? Just I have, 4 eggs each morning.
yeah, I was having 2 eggs, hard boiled right before I went to work.
Yeah, and I think that was on your list, right?
Yeah,
Eggs.
the egg whites and the egg yolk. So yeah, technically a full egg.
Yeah. For me it was egg whites were on the list and egg yolk was low. And I think that's where you're at. I gotta find the
So
eggs
would you
again.
boil the egg, take the skin out, or take the yolk out and the yolk, and then just eat the middle?
Man, you had a lot of wasted egg. But you think when it comes to that too, is that you think like they make egg whites, right? Separated already. And you could buy egg whites in the store,
Yeah.
but you can never buy egg yolk in the store.
Am I the only one that finds that gross for some reason? When you buy the egg whites, the egg whites in the container.
How they taste.
Well, I've never had it and that by itself, but it's just I don't know. I guess it's just me, but it kind of grosses me out that it's like in the milk carton. I don't know.
Yeah. So his egg white showed up in the green, so low, but low high. And same egg yolk was like kind of low on the low side, so he could have more egg yolk. But same is even if he has eggs because it's in the green, say like once a week, he'd be okay, right? But eating it, each day, it's going to cause a reaction at some point.
I got a food question. What if I do panda and I happen to get fried rice and there's how there's egg in it? Would that be considered, or would that be enough to cause a flare up? Now, I know it's Chinese, I know it's fake Chinese food, but I don't know if that specific egg in the rice might have my body react to it, or it's just everything in the rice.
I think it's authentic. I see Hispanics working there. You
You're
notice
right, you're right, you're
there's no
right.
authentic
Yeah,
places
yeah,
anymore,
you
right?
are correct.
Yeah, and now all the taco places are being Indian ran.
That is, what is it? The one by us, the Dos Bros. When I had walked in there, when I had walked in there once, I was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah,
And
no more taco fresco. Taco fresco, we miss you guys.
it's you know what's my favorite Mexican food? Cilantro, and the only one around here is the one in Oak Brook.
Yeah, I never had that. Yeah, so, um,
So with the whole food and everything,
oh no, like eating back on the panda stuff is if you're not eating eggs all the time and you have it once in a great while, not a big deal,
okay,
right? It's gonna be the consecutive having this stuff all the time, unless you really tested high on it. You didn't have any highs. On mine, I had a lot of highs, and that's because the higher candida you have, the more reactions you have. That's why you got to heal that gut, and a lot of these reactions go away. So,
got it.
so yeah, so again, you want balance and variety. So yeah, do that day one. Do that goat milk, with breakfast instead of almond milk.
Well, at the moment, I ended up just swapping everything out. Even though we have almond milk, I ended up we got oat milk now, so that's what I'm gonna transition over to. But and like I said this before in a previous podcast, uh, we uh we've got an oat milk, and I was okay with the flavor. The wife wasn't, but I was.
Yeah, it's a custom taste, right? A lot of these milks. That's why I don't really have milk. And no, like I don't do dairy, but the only dairy I can have and tolerate, I I tried the A2 or A1,
Uh-huh.
and I just felt bloated afterwards. But I try um Overwise,
Okay.
no issues.
It has to be the process that they do it.
Yeah, it's
I would like to find a local farm that sells raw milk.
no.
So what happens for like the food day one and all that? What happens if I accidentally eat something on the wrong day? Like let's say I have almonds on day 2 and then again on day 3.
So yeah, like before your other example, gotta not panic, right? It's not perfection. Overall, focus on strategy. So the more consistent you are, the better your immune system can settle down. But missing a beat here and there won't wreck the process. That's what we said. You don't have to be perfect. Just slowly get on this path. Oops, did it this day. I got to get back on schedule. So what's cool about this approach that it prevents new sensitivities from forming. So eating the same 5 to 7 foods repeatedly is one of the main reasons people develop food intolerances over time. And when I was dealing with migraines, I swear the only thing I was eating is like 3 things: chicken, plain grilled chicken, nothing on it, super plain. I was eating that every single day. Sometimes turkey, sometimes wild rice, and sometimes a pear. I think my staple, my meal when I found out about food sensitivity and all that was chicken breast, wild rice, and pear. And then once in a while, I have like a protein bar, or when I develop a migraine, I thought, man, I need a Coke. My body craved it. And then later on, I realized Coke was one of my major triggers, like Coca-Cola. So
Wow.
for the
I never I have not you are the first person that I know that has a reaction to Coca-Cola.
yeah, it's that cocaine in there.
That's the old one.
That's what they
Unless you get
say.
it from somewhere else. So tacos every night with the same tortilla, cheese and beef, that's what you're talking about?
Exactly. So even if none of those foods are a problem right now, your immune system gets bored and eventually gets irritated. Rotating your meal helps maintain tolerance and keeps inflammation at bay.
This actually sounds like a good reset. Like, I don't have to track calories, just follow a rhythm.
Yep, it simplifies things. So it gives your gut lining a chance to rebuild, which can actually help reduce food sensitivities long term. Again, this is a long term plan, right? It's a journey. Plus, when you reintroduce something like yogurt, for example, you know exactly how your body responds. So that's where kind of we're talking too is like some people, like we like to look at numbers. And when you ran this test and look at it, all right. So if we didn't run the test and you just did elimination diet, how long do you think you would have to do elimination diet before you realize these things on your list that showed up, moderate or low were the real cause?
A really long time because yogurt is on that list, and I love, fruit parfaits with the yogurt, and I've said it before here, the lactose yogurt that I finally found, I like it. I didn't think it was giving me any issues, but on the test, it's telling me, "Hey, it's on the moderate side, but it's not doing anything dramatic. It's not in the red at the moment, but it can be." So then I'll just cool it on that specific yogurt and I'll have it, I'll reintroduce it later on.
Yeah. So when you look like again, so elimination diet, a lot of people say, I don't want to spend the money on eliminate. I mean, I want to spend the money on a test. I want to do elimination diet. So think of the time it would take. Like some people could do it that don't eat a lot of things, right? If you only ate uh say tacos, you only ate plain chicken breast, you only ate rice and maybe one other thing. It's easy to eliminate that and keep track and say, okay, now I'm not going to have chicken for a week. I'm just going to do beef or something. It's easy to identify that. But when you have, oh, I add cumin to this, I add this herb to this, I add salt to this, like there's eggs in here because of the breading on fried chicken or whatever,
Yeah.
like how would you be able to identify? It just takes so long doing elimination diet. You can do it, right? But the test is nice to look at and you see the colors, you see right away, oh, based on this test, I know these are things I'm going to eliminate as of tomorrow, or I'm going to rotate them out. And it's nice seeing on a test. That's
Yeah.
why I say at least without doing a food sensitivity test, you're just guessing if you have sensitivities. But when you do this, now you have actual documentation and metrics to show somebody and say, hey, look, I could prove to you I have bacterial overgrowth.
Yeah, I would have never thought I had any.
Mhm.
Um, and if I would have seen this test on my own, if I would have ordered it on my own without a consultation, a health coach, I would have not known that even though it's low, it could still be a problem because just anybody that orders this test without a consultation, they'll see it and it's considered low, so they'll continue eating it and might push that green to the moderate and onto the red until they have a reaction.
Yeah. And that's where, like, when you reintroduce, like, say you stop yogurt for a few weeks and you're on the same exact diet you're eating, but no yogurt, and that was gone for a few weeks, and then you tried it back and you're like, man, my back hurts today, or the next day, and you're like, man, who would have thought yogurt did that? But you wouldn't know
Nope.
unless you eliminated it. And the thing is, we tell everybody this: when you eliminate things, you have to be careful. Well, we eliminate and introduce things so much that it's hard to pinpoint things. That's why it's like keeping a food diary lets you keep track. Oh yeah, for sure I ate that, or for sure I didn't eat that. But it's hard because there'd be times I'll like, oh, I bought these supplements. I'm going to take these supplements. And then I get a bad migraine a couple of days later. And I was thinking, oh, well, what did I have on Monday? And I was like, well, I tried this different brand of vitamin D, 3K2. I tried, this a TMG supplement, for homocysteine. I tried this. And then I think, man, I tried 4 different things on Monday, not counting what I ate. So it could be any of those things.
Exactly.
So, but if you eliminate stuff and hey, for sure, I'm not going to have yogurt for a couple weeks. And now it's like, you know what? Today's the day I'm going to try yogurt, and I'm only going to do it one time. I'm not going to have anything all week. Besides, I mean, you're going to eat normal, but you're going to introduce additional yogurt. Do that for a week and then see how your body reacts. And it might be good you have it once a week and no reaction. But if you have it once a week, like every week, and then it builds up that tolerance again, and in a month, you're like, "Hey, now I'm having a reaction to yogurt." You just know, "I need to have it only, like, once a month."
If it wasn't for the results saying that I'm, that I should remove dairy, including yogurt, me doing this elimination process on my own, I would have probably eliminated yogurt last.
Yeah.
That would have been the last thing I would have gotten rid of while eliminating everything else, and on the test, it shows that I'm high on that to so pretty much to prevent it. But what about meal prepping? Seems like it could make that harder.
Yeah. So it may that's a good topic. So it might seem that way at first, but here's a trick. So batch prepping ingredients to show up on non-consecutive days. So look at different kind of food you eat. So say you wanna like quinoa. Do you guys eat quinoa at all?
No.
So say you did though. We'll say just quinoa in general, because that's a good one. Cook a bunch of quinoa for day 2, and then based on this, it'd be day 4. Or another, you could roast a lot of vegetables in big batches and freeze them. The key is just organizing your food by the day of the cycle, right? So you saw the different, you don't want to eat, day 1, day 2, day 3, all the same foods. So say day 1 and day 4, you have the same foods. So you're giving your body a break throughout those days. So you could keep kind of rotating the plan and just sort of reusing the plan monthly. It's, one time thing.
All right, I'll give it a shot. I kind of like the idea of building meals around my immune system. It's actually cool.
Yeah, well, it's like when you go out to eat too, you know what to order, what not to order now too, you
No,
know?
yeah, but I think we all. I think any person that's used to going to restaurants already knows their go-to meal that doesn't that they know that it's not gonna hurt them. That they know they're gonna feel great after they eat it, and even if they eat a lot of it, they know that they're not gonna feel bloated or gross.
Yeah, go Cheesecake Factory, they have like 1,000 different
Oh
options.
my
I always
gosh.
get the same thing.
You know, and then that's fine, and then you'll see people, adults that are still getting chicken tenders
I
at the
do, that's
restaurants.
me.
No, that's you? Oh, dang.
Yeah, chicken tenders, yeah.
But that's because you like how you feel because not only you're eating, but you also feel good when you like yeah, of course, anybody's gonna feel good eating, but you feel alright when you're done eating.
Yeah, so I'll do, like, if I go cheesecake, I'll do, like, sometimes those chicken tenders they have, or other times I just do a burger on a lettuce wrap.
That sounds good.
So they have good burgers there though too. So yeah, it's a game changer overall. You gotta give your gut a chance to heal without going extreme. Again, you go extreme, you're gonna quit this, and then you build that relationship like I have with food. You just hate food because it's like, well, what can I eat now? And I eliminated so many things when I was going through all that stuff, and I just got to the point now. It's like I eat to survive. I'm not a foodie by any means.
I am.
And that's one of my problems why I gain weight is because 'cause I'm not eating enough calories a lot of times, and then my body goes into that stress mode, and it just every time I eat, it just stores as fat. So, it's hard for if you don't eat a lot, it's hard to force yourself to eat. Because how do you feel knowing you don't get enough calories, and then you force yourself to get enough calories? How do you feel?
Oh, beyond stuffed, overstuffed.
Exactly. I hate that feeling. I hate it. Like, if I eat a meal the size of the palm of my hand, I feel really good throughout the day. If I eat like that every couple hours, it's when I eat like a full meal, then I feel so bloated and full, and I just hate it. Like, man, I wish I didn't eat.
You know what I miss? I miss Boston Market.
I never ate there.
No? Oh my
Oh,
god.
no.
To me, I've always said it was it was always like a Thanksgiving dinner. They got the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the corn, and that has always been my favorite, and they're all gone just about, so but that's the kind of meal that I am happy with, something that has different options.
Yeah, I remember walking in there one time, and to me, it was like truck stop food. I walked in, looked at it, and I'm gone.
I mean, maybe that's why my gut was so bad before, right?
Yeah. When your gut's really bad, you crave the worst of the worst foods, I think, like, the most greasy, the most this, and then when you get your gut healthy and stuff, when you have any of those foods, you feel, "Man, this is the grossest food ever." Like, right, a little bite, you're like, "This tastes so gross."
R
Before, it was so good.
right now with the fast food, we haven't had much. It's every once in a while. But now when we eat it, it's like we don't fee well, at least my wife and I don't feel the greatest. It's we kind of think to ourselves like, why did we do this to ourselves? Like we should have just gotten the kids something. Because I also don't want to, like do a strict diet on them. I want them to try
Yeah.
it. If they see something, then they want to try it. Yeah, they're gonna try it, but they're not having it every single day. Or it's just I want them to still be kids and enjoy life growing up.
Yeah. Did you let your wife know for Mother's Day you're taking her McDonald's?
Not yet.
Surprises out.
Not yet. Let's go ahead and, release this one after Mother's Day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, what do we do? So, um, so let's so just understanding your test in general, right? We understand that you have, these different sensitivities and stuff, and we wouldn't have known again if we didn't test. The test wasn't too expensive, but it gets you on an initial path. That's why I say food sensitivity test initially is like the foundation. Okay, based on this, let's adjust your nutrition and let's do this over a course a couple months, right? And then slowly eliminate stuff.
Yeah, and hopefully better energy, digestion, and less of that afternoon crash. Because that like, there'll be days that like, lately, I don't know what I'm doing, and I know I'm eating better, that I'm able to get out of work after I did 9 hours, and then I still have enough energy to cut the grass or continue building, in the garage. So that to me is a win.
Yeah. So if you keep track of how you feel across these 4 days, using something like your food or symptom journal, so you still have that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, yeah, and probably already you probably learned a ton about your body, but you'll learn even more now that you know to eliminate things. So you probably start to see patterns, and that's where we say like food tracking in general. Everybody should track their food. I mean, you have any symptom, right? You have rashes on your body, you have migraines, you have knee pain, you have back pain, because like arthritis, right, based on inflammation. Well, is it really arthritis or is it based on your foods and inflammation in the body? You know?
That is true. This might be my nerdy experiment for the month.
Mm.
Now, but just to kind of piggyback off of what you just said about the inflammation, this is why seeing a chiropractor is beneficial as well. Because not only it may, they could also, you know, for Dr. Tejeda, he's able to scan to make sure you don't have no nerve damage.
Yeah. So there, yeah, there's different tests like chiropractors too. Benefit is that that brain gut connection we're talking about in the spine, and also chiropractors can if you need it send you for MRI, send you for they could do a lot of X-rays in their offices, stuff like that too. So you got to find out too, is like your issue, is it related to, because your spine sideways, it's like a V
Mm.
instead of a line, it's
Yeah.
like, or an S, you see that a lot, and it's like could be any of those things causing issues, but that's where it's like work hand in hand. There's different things out there that needs to be done. But I think we see a lot with so many people go to their doctor because they have joint pain right away. Oh, it's arthritis, without scanning, without doing anything. They just say you have arthritis, give you medication. But you know what? Maybe you need you're low on omega-3 to 6 ratio and you need to increase your omega-3s and take different herbs and stuff, supplements to get your inflammation down and eat proper. And maybe you don't have arthritis. Maybe it's just that inflammation. We get the inflammation down, you don't have the pain anymore. Because we see that a lot. So,
All the time.
so, like you said, the experiment for a month, I would go a month to 3 months, still rotate it out and then see how you feel. But so in our last segment, right, we'll wrap this up and talk about next steps soon here, but, about gut support and how to use the info without getting overwhelmed. So, all right. So we did talk about, your candida levels, also your dairy reactivity. These are important on your food list, and the low reactive foods and the great killer rotation diet. It's not that hard to understand once you kind of look at it. And a lot of stuff in a rotation may not be stuff you eat. So you substitute what kind of was provided based on what you eat, right? You just say, okay, well, if day one, day 1 and day 4, you have chicken. Day 2, you have turkey. Day 3, you have beef, or a vegan, vegetarian meals. It's easy to rotate it out. And then, So day 4, you had chicken again, then you don't have chicken again until day 8. No, yeah, it's easy. Once you get on the habit,
Yeah,
it's not hard. So all right, so we've broken down those. What do we actually do with all this information, right? I think that's a common question.
I'm not trying to print this out and carry it around like a food Bible. I want to make, I want to make it useful, but not overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I used to when I did my food sensitivity test in the beginning, I would carry it with me when I go food shopping or out to restaurants. But now it's like you save it as a PDF to your phone
No, yeah,
and go through it.
and I've noticed that the more advanced that I get in my studies and the food and what ingredients what, it's like I'm able to just get the stuff right away without even second guessing it. Or is it because I've already gotten it? I like how I feel when I eat it, and so on.
Yeah, because now you know like the higher on your list, so you know like certain dairies, mozzarellas that have moderate, um, same yogurts, green tea, and all that stuff. To where you just could write a list of, hey, these 8 things I'm going to avoid for a little bit. But so we said before, it's not perfection, it's progress. So slow journey. Best part is this isn't about restriction for the sake of it, right? You're doing it for a reason. You want to give your gut and immune system a chance to breathe. So here's practical steps. Let me look at this. Let's make a step-by-step plan here based on your test results. So first, take a break from foods that showed up in moderate IgG reactivity. So that was cow's milk, whey, yogurt. Also, given your Candida overgrowth, we want to limit anything that feeds it, like excess sugar, alcohol, processed carbs, and like kombucha or beer. I know you don't drink, so don't have to worry about beer.
So I'm cutting out some comfort stuff. How long am I looking at?
It'd probably be around usually 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. That's usually long enough to notice big shift in symptoms, especially energy, digestion, mental clarity, and skin. During that time, lean on foods that show no reactivity and follow your rotation plan.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. So it's huge, right? Track your symptoms. That's where that food diary comes in. So that notebook, or you can use your food diary app. Log your meals, energy levels, mood, sleep quality, and physical changes like bloating, joint stiffness, and brain fog.
So it's not about calories or macros. It's more like a feedback loop.
Yep, exactly. You're collecting data on yourself, right? Most people eat the same things daily and have no idea which food is dragging them down. This tracking makes you more aware. And if the symptoms improve with certain foods that you're out of, then your body's confirming that your immune system was playing a role. So yeah, so if you eliminate these foods and you start to feel better, especially when you eliminate for like 6 weeks, you start to feel better and then you slowly introduce it and you have a reaction, you know right away. Or when you eliminate these things that are high, let's see how you feel 6 weeks from now. Say you eliminated all these things that are in the moderate and some on the low high side. Say you eliminate those for 6 weeks and then just analyze, how do I feel right now? And some people might feel better a week after, right? But eliminate them for 6 weeks at least and see how you feel. And you might say, I don't even want to try it, you know?
I agree. Yeah, that is definitely worth a shot.
Yeah. So the other thing is gut support, right? So since you have elevated Candida, IgG, we also want to support gut health during this time. So that means a broad spectrum probiotic with lactobacillus and Saccharomyces boulardii. Possible some antifungal herbs like oregano oil, sapricilic acid, and berberine. Berberine's a great one. I do have one of the products here that have kind of all of them combined.
Sweet.
A digestive enzyme with meals, especially if you feel bloated after eating. And some people, based on organic acid tests, which will really show that if you have issues with enzymes and you say need to take a daily enzyme with every time you eat a big meal. If you eat a small meal, a lot of people don't need it, but when they eat a large meal, a lot of times they feel bloated. So that's where a digestive enzyme comes in. And don't forget the basic we always harp on: hydration, quality sleep, and reducing stress. It all adds up.
I can do that. And honestly, if it clears up some of the afternoon crashes and sugar cravings, I'm in.
Yeah, I think you'll feel better on those walks, right? Because it's easy too. You're walking a lot. Well, you just grab something quick, right? It might be in your pocket, might be those peanuts, and
Not anymore.
not anymore. So based on gradual reintroduction, after 6 to 8 weeks of elimination and gut support, we reintroduce those moderate foods. So say the peanuts. or yogurt. One at a time, spaced out by a few days. So again, you might try yogurt again, see how you feel over 72 hours. Then, maybe that week or the next week you try cow's milk and see how you feel then.
What if I feel fine after reintroducing it?
Great. Then you know your gut's in a better place. And the food might not be an issue anymore. But if the symptoms are fatigue or digestive trouble return, that's a sign to hold off longer and limit the food frequency again. So even after reintroduction, keep using rotation framework. It's not temporary diet, it's lifestyle upgrade. It trains your body to handle more variety without getting inflamed. So again, that rotation and people out there, you can start this now. If you're eating chicken daily, you got to rotate that out, right? If you're eating steak daily, rotate that out. And even like if you're carnivore diet, right? Eat steak one day, chicken next day, turkey next day, seafood the next day, then go back.
Yeah. So this is kind of like learning food boundaries that change over time.
Yeah, your immune system is dynamic. You're not stuck with sensitivities forever, but ignoring them just pushes your body closer to burnout, right? It's that, as Dr. Cabral always says, it's that water barrel effect. You have so much room in a water barrel or like a bucket. You keep eating these things, it keeps causing your bucket to overflow. You reduce them, it reduces that water in that bucket. And then once you have it once in a while, your bucket's not overflowing. So whole test is a snapshot that lets us step in before the bigger problem like autoimmune disease, chronic fatigue, or gut breakdown.
I'll be honest. I used to roll my eyes at food sensitivity stuff. I thought it was just another fad.
Yeah, to you saw your paperwork. So yeah, that's the difference right here is, right? This is your immune system, your body, your data. You see it on paper now. Now you got a plan to work with, something to work with you, not against you.
And you know what? This feels doable. Not extreme. I can make the swaps, rotate my food, and see how I feel. Worst case, I get a little leaner and less bloating. Not a bad trade.
No, and two, right? The whole goal is, long-term health. That's what we're doing all this for. It's not for, change how I look overnight. It's kind of where we want to go long-term on that road. And we want to live long, healthy life. And that's the reason we're doing all this. So food isn't the enemy. Your body just wants to be heard. And now you're finally listening.
All right, let's do it. No more yogurt parfaits in the morning, and maybe, just maybe, I'll journal. I will journal my foods, like you said.
Yeah. Not just foods, but also do, how your body feels and stuff too. But yeah, it's, always what I wanted to hear for all the months. Me harping you on do food tracking, do food tracking, do food tracking.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're listening and this resonates with you, go check out food sensitivity testing. You could go to mindfulobjective.com for more information. And if you go to labs, so mindfulobjective.com/labs, there should be now a breakdown on food sensitivity test, and you can just order. And where I would recommend the more advanced test is because the more advanced one includes yeast and candida just at a high level, but at least you could see if you have, you're starting to get bacterial overgrowth. The main test for it is organic acid test. That'll really show if you have bad bacteria or bad fungal bacterial overgrowth. But at least on this test, you have a kind of a overall heads up on, hey, you do have candida and yeast was detected. So that kind of sums it up. So thanks for turning in to this episode of Real Talk. Whether you're just hearing about food sensitivity testing or you're wondering why certain foods don't sit quite right, I hope today's breakdown gave you a better understanding how your body communicates their symptoms. A reminder, this podcast for informational educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. Not disease, but like your body's out of ease, right? Disease. So what we covered today isn't about fear or restriction. It's about clarity, all right? We want you to be clear. We want you to know your immune system is reacting to food you eat. You can make smarter choices, one that does support healing instead of holding you back. And another quick thing before we go is, have you ever went to a medical doctor and they're like, oh, let's run a food sensitivity test, see if foods are causing inflammation in your body?
I personally have never done it, but just because I know that's something they don't offer.
Yeah, not at all. They don't even talk about it. So again, you go majority medical doctors because they treat symptoms, right? So you have high inflammation, here's a pill to take for your inflammation. Not to identify the root cause and help you rebalance your body so your body heals itself. They're there and they're trained to, no fault of their own. It's what a medical doctor does is, and you're seeing a lot of like integrative health medical doctors now get out there. See a lot on Twitter, X. But their main thing is not going for the root cause, but that's our on integrative health side. What we do, we look at that root cause to help your body heal itself to hopefully get you off medication. So today's episode got you thinking. Head over to mindfulobjective.com/podcast to submit your own questions, learn about lab testing, or find resources to support your next steps. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Mindful Objective. And again, we'll put in the show notes Geraldo's information and my other information.
And if you're sitting there thinking, man, I might be reacting to stuff too, you're probably right. I was shocked by some of my results, but this test didn't make me feel limited. It made me feel empowered. Now I actually know where to start.
Yeah, and elimination diet, where were you started?
I wouldn't, I don't even know because, like I said, yogurt would have been my last thing to eliminate.
Yeah, it's hard. Unless you're eating 5 things, it's elimination diet's pretty hard. So this kind of speeds up that process. So that's what it's about, right? When you listen to your body, everything changes. No more guessing, no more cycles of fatigue, fog, inflammation, just clear direction. So start where you are. Choose one thing, one food, one habit, or one way to support your gut and rebuild from there.
One better choice at a time. See you soon, everyone.
Exactly. Until next time, be well, stay curious, and give your body what it's really asking for. You only get one body. Take care of it. Stay well.